Greetings. This is Doc Ock coming at you live and direct from Black Facts Headquarters Central this afternoon with another installment of Doc Ock at noon and 9. Coming at you live and direct. So let's get right to it today. First and foremost, give us a like if you're watching on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, give us the old thumbs up. Then go ahead, spread the word through the land, far and wide. Give us a hand, because we could use a hand. Matter of fact, that leads right into our proverb of the day, which is each one teach one, each one reach one. Yeah, we changed it up a little bit. Each one teach one, each one reach one. That's right, reach out, give somebody a hand up the same way somebody pulled you up. So we got to pull ourselves up, not by our own bootstraps, because that's an impossible task. We have to pull each other up by our hands. So take one hand, pull somebody up by their hand. Brother to brother, sister to sister, mother to mother, father to father. We got to do it for ourselves. Meanwhile, we're going to continue reading the story of Norma Morris Ray as outlined in her momentous book, her epic book, her epic story that she tells here, The Fences Between. The Fences Between, where she tells the story of a young girl growing up in Northeast Ohio and attending a major, predominantly white university, Kent State University. Yes, that's right. We are bringing it right on home, and that's why we have dubbed these segments, this whole series, a Black Homecoming, because we're bringing it right on home. So without further ado, let's go ahead on into our slideshow and get on with the getting on. She's talking about her days when she's just getting ready to start at Kent State. So we'll back up just a slight bit to right where she does talk about that, where she mentions Kent State, first mention of Kent State. Let me see if I can fix this thing here in the meantime. Technical difficulties every single daggone day. I don't know why this programs want to give me so many difficulties at this point. I hadn't been doing this. I've been doing pretty good, but let's see if it'll go this time. Kent State University had just opened a one-year normal school extension unit at the Canton City School Administration Building. Simultaneously, Mrs. John Leonard offered me a job as a live-in maid and cook with time off to go to school. My pay was to be $10 a week, with the $50 Menelik Culture Club scholarship and nearly half the salary I had saved from my 2 summer jobs. I was able to enroll in college. I was also able to give Mom half of my salary, $20 whole a month. As soon as that school year was over, I became a full-time cook with the Arthur Reeves family at Congress Lake. From June to December, I would enroll at Kent in January. Just before I was to leave for the main campus, I received a telephone call from the office secretary at Richmond's. She asked me to stop by the store to pick up a going-away gift. With half the store clerks looking on, Percy gave me a small mirrored cedar chest with a neat assortment of needles, thread, scissors, manicuring set, 6 pairs of silk hose, not that nylon stuff. A pair of silk hose cost $1.25. Cotton stockings cost 35 cents. A respectable young lady did not accept personal gifts from a gentleman. I floundered for words to conceal my confusion while expressing a cautious gratitude. He explained, my sister, Alberdine, is always writing to ask for at least 2 pair of silk hose. I guess wearing silk stockings is very important when you're in college. Between December 1928 and August 1929, I saw Percy twice. My determination to pursue this second year of college precipitated an explosive confrontation between me and Mom. It was traumatic. Thoroughly convinced I was right, I pushed aside the irritating anger and the guilt that tried to invade my conscience. I was 18 years old, on the threshold of new beginnings. I'd always planned to teach, and having performed well that first year in the Kent Extension College in Kenton, I was even more determined to continue my training on the main campus in Kent, Ohio. Neither Mom's need for me to help her support the 5 younger children at home, now that Pop had vanished, wherever the deserting parent hides, nor my nearly non-existent college funds could quench my determination to pursue the training that would make teaching possible. Mom and Grandma both lamented their unfulfilled dream of becoming teachers. My great expectation was to fill 3 dreams in one, mine and theirs. A recurring dream, which I had not fully shared with Mom or anybody, pretty well outlined my career and my future. I would live at home and pay room and board to help support the family. Teachers were not allowed to marry, and this appealed to me. There was nothing particularly attractive about my parents' marriage and subsequent separation. Knowing that marriage and babies went together made an unmarried teaching career even more attractive. I did not want babies, so a husband was, quote unquote, expendable. As a teacher, I could build a 3rd bedroom over the kitchen, replacing a pitch black, low-ceilinged storage room, cluttered with broken furniture and discarded toys. The new addition would be a large, airy room with twin beds for my sister Ethel and me. A teaching position would permit me to return to college for a part of each summer and then travel. The first place on my itinerary would be Raleigh, North Carolina. I could see what the South was like with the segregation and Jim Crow laws and look up my pop's relatives. Maybe I could locate my pop. I wondered if he was in school somewhere getting his law degree, now that he had divested himself of family obligations. I tucked my dreams away and gathered together my belongings. My neatly packed leather simulated cardboard suitcase reflected my meager financing as well as my feelings about the importance of clothing. I thought in 3s, 1 garment being worn, 1 in the closet or dresser drawer ready for wear, and 1 being laundered, dry cleaned, or mended. My college wardrobe consisted of 2 dresses, a 2-piece suit with a blouse and sweater, and an after-school dress. The lingerie and toiletries were kept to a minimum. There were 3 pairs of panties, 3 brasiers, 2 slips, 1 nightgown, 3 pairs of lisle cotton stockings, 6 neatly quilted 3 by 12-inch flannel feminine pads, safety pins, needle and thread, a bar of P&G laundry soap, a bar of Ivory toilet soap, Mavis talcum powder, Mum, Vaseline, a toothbrush, comb and brush, 2 washcloths, and a small-sized bath towel. And if that ain't a mouthful, I don't know what is. 2 pair of Oxfords, 1 black with matching shoe polish kits, a pair of patent leather pumps, my graduation shoes for dress, a winter coat with hood and scarf, a pair of woolen gloves, and a pair of rubber galoshes completed my wearing apparel. My wardrobe was not as collegiate as the well-dressed college miss, but I was fortified with a naive abundance of self-confidence and optimism. My employer, Mrs. Arthur Reeves, a strikingly beautiful woman, congratulated me for my educational goals. Stay with it, Norma. You know what your mother has suffered and what it means to be deserted. Look at me. I'm surrounded by wealth, and you can see for yourself what my life is like. As a teacher, you will have security and independence. I wish I had had the opportunity to go to college, says the rich white woman. Even she wanted to go to college. I was on my way, aware that my savings and a contribution from St. John's AME Zion Church would not cover all the winter and spring quarter expenses. The Kent Normal School campus did not present a particularly inspiring view that cold January morning. The taxi driver drove slowly and pointed out the administration building dominating the snow-covered campus. It was surrounded by Kent Hall, the university school, and the dormitory. Alighting from the taxi with suitcase in hand, I was eager to get about the business of completing my education. Of my completing my registration. After a morning of directions to stay here and go over there, the long registration lines in the Kent Hall Gymnasium were behind me, with my tuition receipt tucked inside one of the 6 textbooks cradled in my left arm and dragging my suitcase by a very tired right arm. I approached the dormitory registration desk. How nice it would be to get my room assignment, take a hot shower, stretch out on a comfortable bed, and shout, "I made it! I am really here, Kent." I was totally unprepared for the face-to-face pronouncements of the Dean of Girls. "Oh, I'm so sorry," an unfeeling feminine voice began as I placed my registration forms on the office counter. "We have no accommodations for your stay on campus. Your dormitory deposit will be returned to you. We just couldn't. It is our policy to recommend a couple of good colored homes where you may stay. The room rent is $2 a week. You may board with your landlady or do your own cooking. We set the room rent. She sets the board rate, and we inspect the houses. You should be as happy as the other colored students. We haven't had too many who have stayed off campus while attending Kent." She moved away from the counter and returned with a sheet of paper. "Here are some addresses. Oh, how to get to these homes? Go to the main street just outside this administration building, turn left and walk to the middle of town. A drugstore is on the corner. Turn left again, walk about 5 blocks, and you'll be in the colored section." Anyone can tell you where the Joneses, the Browns, the Fletchers, or Howards live if you ask. A couple of these families are related. It might be better if you chose this family here at this address. She circled a name, placed the sheet in front of me, and continued. 2 of these families, I am told, have teenage boys living at home. We may have to reconsider and not allow our students to live where dating could be a temptation. Shall I call a cab or phone one of the families to drive up here for you? They all have automobiles. Just wait a few minutes in the outer office. I shall get your deposit." Oh yes, she said it very nice, and she didn't say it twice, because Norma Marceray had heard, or Norma Snipes as she was known at that time, had heard about these kinds of going-ons. She'd heard about segregation in the South. She'd even heard about it in the North. This is just the first time she's experiencing it face to face, right up, all up in her face. Dean Verder was the person she was talking to. Now, there's a hall at Kent named after this great dean, Dean Verder, Verder Hall. A girls' dorm, used to be a girls' dormitory. I'm not sure what they use it for today. Dean Verder never gave me a chance to open my mouth for any utterance, not one mumbling word. It is difficult for me to recall exactly how I felt during her garrulous dissertation. I stood before her, looking at her, and yet not seeing her. With each spoken word, the vision of her diminished. Was I dreaming? Was I experiencing shock, fear, intimidation, or anger? Disbelief overwhelmed me. What was I supposed to do? Was I supposed to say, "Thank you, ma'am"? Or, "Oh, that's all right"? "Yes, ma'am, I understand"? How do you respond to some BS like this? That's what she's thinking. I stood there. I was like someone standing outside a huge iron gate, locked out. Does the person wishing to pass through yell and call out, pound really hard with both fists, or just walk away? A brief thought crossed my mind to protest, to scream, to say that I had never spent a night in the home of strangers, and to ask why it was so necessary for me to live outside the college campus in a colored home. Would it help to tell this person I was not seen, that I had looked forward to living in the same dormitory with some of my classmates of last year? Then another thought followed that caused me to neither protest, beg, nor question, but to walk resolutely away. I had barely enough money to see me beyond that first month of the winter quarter. If Dean Verder knew this, she would probably see that I was sent home pronto to wait until you have more money. It might be better for me to live off campus and do my own searching for work than to live on campus, looking for the approved jobs that the college catalog explained came through the dean's office. I had planned to use my cooking experience to request work in the cafeteria dining room from my board. This college administrator would never help a student as unwelcome to the college as she indicated I was. Maybe a colored family would assist me in finding part-time work to earn at least $3 a week. If the Kent colored residents would be anything like some of the colored members at St. John's AME Zion Church or some of Mom's Watkins Products customers, they would understand. They would be proud of me and encourage me. I backed away from the counter, picked up my belongings, and walked outdoors to a waiting cab. Welcome to Kent State, 1929 style, or 28, whichever. I think it was 1928. But wasn't that just the most revealing description of how black students were treated when they came to Kent? Do we need to go back and get stories from earlier on to see how those students were treated? I don't think so. And we don't need to get stories from students too much later, because we already have stories of students from the 50s and how they were still living off campus. They were still being directed off campus. They were still given a separate list to go from to find housing off campus. So even those other students that did live off campus, like the graduate students, they had one list for the white students and one list for the black students. Total segregation. Not in Mississippi, not in Alabama, but right here in Kent, Ohio, the only state that ends the same way it starts, with a big fat 0. Or maybe you think that's an O, whatever. Meanwhile, that's all for our story today. We're going to go ahead and move right along with our day. We hope you will too. We hope your day is real strong as you move along. And in the meanwhile, you know it's the end of the month, so we're only going to ask you to do one thing at this point, and that is go ahead and make a donation of any size from $5 up to the Black Facts Educational Research Incorporated. We need money better than a hog needs slop, so we can continue doing what we're doing here and not be considered to be a flop or some kind of fop, as a matter of fact. So go ahead and make those donations. You can make them on Facebook. You can make them. You can go to YouTube. It'll give you a link to our website where you can donate on our donation page. You can go direct to our website. So you got 3 different avenues to get to a donation page. When you donate, be as generous as you can, because it's got to last us for at least a month. But we will be back at the beginning of November with another request for more money. And we're going to keep doing this every single month until we start to get a regular donation stream, going, so that we can keep on keeping on, continue to buy, because I went out and bought this book, as a matter of fact, and continue to buy new items to add to the Crosby Archives, so that we can bring you stories like this that are custom made just for you. Okay, custom made for you, and they go right along with some of your own personal experiences. You can't find this anywhere else on the internet. Nobody else has a audio book of Norma Marceray's book, The Fences Between. And they've long since stopped doing the play. The play was done a number of times, but it hasn't been done in quite some time. So, meanwhile, we want to say peace out without a doubt, y'all. Of course, with justice, because anything less disgusts us. And we'll give a shout out to Brother Solomon. Good to see you out there watching. Glad we were able to put this up today within the noon hour, between noon and 1 o'clock. We'll be back tonight with more scary stories. So be here, unless you just got too much fear. Peace.